Welcome, friends, to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I'm Janet Cagle, certified life coach, business strategist, and lover of all things related to up-leveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you experience a mind shift that gets you one step closer to your goals, whatever they are. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Let's get this podcast going. Ready? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. My goal today is to give you a mind shift by giving you some bite-sized knowledge nuggets that you can apply today and up-level your life today. This is episode 14. Today, we're going to talk about negative emotions. Doesn't that sound like fun? First of all, I'm going to set the record straight. There are no good emotions or bad emotions, good thoughts or bad thoughts. There are only thoughts and emotions that serve you as you create the life of your heart's desire, or thoughts and emotions that do not serve you. I used to think that because I had all of these negative thoughts and emotions that something must be wrong with me. I would see the evidence in the bookstore with aisles and aisles of books devoted to how to be happy. So I thought that must be the ultimate goal. I read hundreds of them, and none of them said to me what I'm going to say to you today. We are supposed to have negative emotions. Yep, it's how we are designed, and there is a purpose to them. I hope with what I just said right there will help you stop kicking your ass every time you have a bad day or a negative thought or emotion. Just stop. It doesn't serve you. Here is the deal. We only know happy because sad exists. We know connection because lonely exists. We know brave and courageous because fear exists. We can only know what ability is because of experiencing inability. We only know authentic because we know fake. We know energized because we know, well, you get my point. Negative emotions are what make positive emotions possible. They are how we know what we don't want to experience. When we know what we don't want, then we can better pursue what we do want. The human experience is 50-50. This is normal. And when we understand that, it starts to feel more like 60-40 or 80-20. When we don't understand that, the very human experience of 50-50 sends us into a downward spiral and into those useless and powerless, indulgent emotions, the ones I talked about in episode 10. The worry, anxiety, self-doubt, self-pity, confusion, indecision, and resentment, just to name a few. Here's what I want you to understand about negative emotions. They are harmless. What? They don't feel comfortable, but they don't cause pain either. And why this is so important to understand is that avoiding the experience of a negative emotion is what drives us to do things we shouldn't, like overeat, overdrink, overspend, date the people we shouldn't, marry the people we shouldn't, stay married to the people we shouldn't. The prospect of feeling a negative emotion is what keeps us from doing the very things that we can't stop thinking about, whatever that is for you. It's your brain's way of keeping you from feeling fear, being rejected, and feeling the pain of humiliation. But think about it. What are you not doing because of the way it might make you feel? We work very hard at avoiding the feelings of failure, and what we are also doing is missing the feeling of success in the process. When I'm working with my weight loss clients, one of the things that they tell me about why they are afraid to go into the program that might actually work is that they fear feeling deprived. They fear feeling the discomfort of change that they know they will experience in order to experience growth. They fear the isolation of being the only one at the party not overeating. They fear the disappointment of not eating the cookie. Here's a mind shift for you. You are going to feel all of those emotions whether you chase your dreams and create the life of your heart's desire or not. Why? Because you're human and because you have a brain, and that's the way we are wired, all of us. I know that you feel like you are wired to even more of a negative bias than your friends or your family, but it's just not true. You are just like I was before I invested in my own coaching. When you learn how your brain works and how you can manage your brain to create different results, you begin to see the value of all of your emotions, even the negative ones, and you learn how to flip the script and change the plot of your life instead of letting life just happen all around you and to you. My coach told me, you might as well make the decision to step into the discomfort, embrace all of the emotions that are part of the human experience, and know that your willingness to experience the beautiful existence of being human means that from time to time, that includes a negative emotion. No one gets an exemption from them or an opt-out. No one. Nothing has gone wrong, my friend, and you are not broken, no matter how negative you feel like you are. And you are in control of deciding exactly how you want to feel, regardless of your circumstance. I have an example, but first I want to share this. We create our own suffering by resisting our emotions, by trying not to feel them. But what if we just allowed them and embraced them and recognized them as part of our humanness? Allowing an emotion is not the same as ignoring it or trying to spin it into something positive. Allowing is like swimming in a pool of pool noodles, and each pool noodle is an emotion. We allow them to be in the pool with us. We let them float up and drift off. What we've been doing is grabbing onto them and trying to push them underwater. If you've ever tried to submerge a pool noodle, you know the impossibility of that. If you push it down in the middle, the end pops up. If you hold the ends underwater, the middle pops up. If we just allow the negative emotion to present itself without us making it mean anything negative about us as a human for having the negative emotion, we get better each time we go through the experience. It doesn't mean negative things don't happen to you anymore. It means that you are better equipped to go through them. So here's an example of why you want your negative emotions. A couple of years ago, my little dog Bella started getting what I call swelly belly. It would come and go like water retention. At first I thought it was because she was aging and gaining weight and losing her youth, kind of like the rest of us. But she still had all of her energy and she was eating and drinking just fine, so I didn't really think too much of it. And then one day I just thought, I'm going to take her in and just make sure it's not something more serious. Given the way she was acting, I couldn't even imagine that it was anything very serious. But when the doctor came out of the exam room, he said she has a tumor that is the size of her little body. There's a 99% chance that it is septic, and there is a 100% chance she will die during surgery if it is. We don't have to do the surgery. You might have a couple of weeks left with her, but then for sure, she will need to be put down. For those of you who have pets, you know what those words felt like when I heard them. I felt like it was a punch to the gut. I was scared for Bella, sad for Steve, and I was having all kinds of waves of negative emotions you can imagine. Here's the deal. Sadness was the emotion that I wanted to feel getting news like that. I felt terribly sad at the prospect of losing my little dog. Sadness had a purpose for me at that very moment. So did concern and curiosity. Being sad and concerned and curious was what I wanted to feel. Worry, however, was not useful. But because I'm human and I have a brain, of course worry was coming and going. But if I would have stayed in a state of worry, I would not have been useful in conveying the information to my husband. I would have been useless making the decisions. I would have been frantic about the whole event. So when bad things happen, we want the negative emotions available to us. We want to be able to experience our life with the appropriate human emotion. The vet had me say goodbye, and he took her into surgery. And so while I was grieving, I remembered being very aware and conscious of the range of emotions I was accessing and allowing. Now the story has a happy ending. Bella's tumor was not septic, and that little dog bounced back like nothing had ever happened. Of course, I don't wish anything like that on anyone, but here's the deal. I only know joy because I know sadness. I want to give you some things that you can do that will help you allow your emotions. It's not easy, and it takes practice, but it's a total game changer to up-leveling your life. Step 1. When you feel yourself in a negative emotion, ask yourself these 2 questions. What am I feeling? And I want you to describe it specifically. And then ask yourself this question. Where is it in my body? Really sit in the space of feeling it in your being and in your body. Step 2, instead of ignoring it, resisting it, or buffering against it, breathe it in. Open your heart up to the emotion that you are feeling. Here is what happened. When I was really feeling the sad and breathing it in, I felt the hollowness of my gut and the heaviness in my heart. I could literally feel the vibrations in my body. It wasn't pleasant, but resisting it is way more painful, and that's where we create our own suffering. Instead of tightening up against it and bracing against it, the sadness just flowed through me, and it felt a softening happen in my body too, kind of like an acceptance and knowing that whatever happens, I will be okay. Being unwilling to feel the negative emotions does not keep negative things from happening. Things beyond our control are always going to come and go in our lives. Some of the events will create negative emotions, and as it turns out, it's supposed to be that way. Here is my parting thought. When circumstances beyond my control create a negative emotion, I ask myself, how do I want to feel about this? How do I want to show up for this experience? Who do I want to be? Bella's event is a perfect example. I wanted to be sad. I also wanted to be brave so I could take care of things and communicate to Steve since he was at work. I wanted to be curious so I could ask the right questions. I wanted to be thankful for the talent of the vet who did the surgery and thankful he had time and he could work her in right away. I wanted to be thankful for the experience of having a little dog like Bella in my life to love. You see, my friend, you can't know love without coming face to face with the prospect of losing it. I hope that this has been helpful and useful to you, and the next time you find yourself with a negative emotion, I want you to know that nothing has gone wrong and you are not broken. All right, my friends, I hope you have the best week ever. That's a wrap of the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I hope that you were able to experience your own transformation this week. If you love this podcast, I would love it if you would leave me a review, and here is what's in it for you. When you listen and subscribe and screenshot your review, email it to me, you are entered to win $100. As soon as we get to 100 reviews, I will be drawing for the winner. Now, you can only leave one review, but you can enter multiple times. I'm going to leave the details in the show notes. All right, my friends, I hope that you have the best week ever.